And we are live.
Cindy, I'm just verifying. Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
Great. Welcome, everyone. I am excited to call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you can please remain standing after the pledge, this evening we have a special performance of the national anthem as well.
There is no video for the pledge.
You can roll the video, Cindy. Thank you.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the we're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's bright glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you so much for that. And we'll hear a little bit more about that presentation in a bit. I just wanted to confirm, Cindy, that YouTube is live right now.
Yes, YouTube is live.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Again, I would like to welcome everyone this evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Rochester Community Schools Board of Education. Welcome to those gathered here in person, to the community members watching at home. And if anyone is still upstairs in the overflow rooms, just know that we do have some room down here. It is standing room only, but you are welcome to come down here. We have several ways for the public to engage during our public meetings. First, members of the public can request to be on our agenda. Tonight, we have 11 members of the public that have made that request, and there's a form on our website for those who are interested in this in the future. Second, at the end of the meeting, we do have time for public comments. To participate, please fill out a yellow card and hand it to one of the individuals at the end of the table, and we will make sure to call on you. And that same is true for anyone who is in the overflow room. There are those cards there as well. When you're addressing the board, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. We will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining. When addressing the board, please state your name and your relationship to the district. Please address your comments to the entire board and not to individual board members, the superintendent, or other district employees or members of the audience. Please refrain from behavior that is intemperate, abusive, defamatory, or discourteous, or that otherwise interferes with the orderly conduct and timely completion of the board meeting. We do reserve the right to exclude from our meeting an individual who engages in conduct that constitutes a breach of the peace. We will not be answering direct questions or responding to comments tonight, but we will make sure someone follows up with you to address your concerns. Yielding time or otherwise giving time to a speaker to extend the 3-minute period by another person shall not be permitted. Finally, as a show of respect for those in this room and for our school community, we ask that you please wear a mask. On behalf of my colleagues on the board, we are grateful to serve this community and we appreciate your support. Before we begin our meeting, I would like to turn the microphone over to Dr. Shaner.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, often in this profession, you have the opportunity to meet extraordinary people, both young men and women, and the people that we're blessed to work with, serve with, and build relationships with. Several years ago, I had the honor and privilege to meet a man by the name of Ray Lawson. Ray taught in this school district for nearly 60 years. And when you think about the impact that Ray had in the lives of children, his colleagues, in the community, it's just simply awe-inspiring. Equally as important, when the call to serve came for World War II, Ray answered the call and served in the U.S. Army from 1941 to 1945. Returning home, he engaged in his beloved career as an English teacher. And I'm told by many that he was quite effective at it, not only building relationships with kids, but also making sure that he had high expectations for them and they exceeded them, like we all know they always do. We lost Ray this past week at 102 years old. He's an extraordinary human being. And I think it's very fitting that we are celebrating the retirees of this district as we take a moment and we remember Ray Lawson for his service to our country, his service to our community, his friendship, his fellowship, and his love. So please, let's take a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shaner. First item on our agenda is the roll call, and we have Scott Muska and Kevin Beers are absent with notice. And now we're moving on to Spotlight on Success. We have 3 items on this agenda, and the first one I will introduce Dave Murphy, our Director of HR and Employee Relations, who will talk about the district retirees. Dave.
Members of the Board of Education gathered friends and guests. This evening, it's my pleasure and honor to lead us in recognizing the contributions and immeasurable impact of educators who are entering into retirement. These 73 dedicated professionals represent a total of 1,585 years of service to the children and families in Rochester Community Schools. On behalf of those students and families, we thank them for their time, skill, compassion, and knowledge. The philosopher Aristotle is credited with saying that children are the legacy we leave for the time we will not live to see. This special group of educators have left quite a legacy on generations of our children, and that impact will resonate for years to come. Please join me in wishing each of them all the joy, happiness, and good health in retirement that they deserve. A token of appreciation was given to each educator this evening, and those unable to attend will receive one soon as well. At this time, we'd like to acknowledge each by name and ask that those that are in attendance bring their frame up behind me to my left, and we'll line up for a group picture once all names have been called. If you would please hold your applause till the end of all the names being called. From Adams High School, Mary Jane Cosgrove, Tech Facilitator, 18 years. Kathleen Herderick, paraeducator, 15 years. Lisa Main, teacher, 13 years. Janet Neiswanger, secretary, 13 years. From the Administration Center, Lorna Adams, program consultant, 16 years. Daniel Gans, computer technician, 21 years. Carrie Lawler, assistant superintendent for secondary education, 8 years. Kristen Newer, occupational therapist, 22 years. Sarah Matuka, secretary, 31 years. Baldwin Elementary, Joyce Bama, teacher, 21 years. Jody Densmore, paraeducator, 9 years. Linda Hines, teacher, 26 years. Linda Washburn, secretary, 20 years. Brewster Elementary, Deirdre Anderson, teacher, 32 years. Karen Knight, speech and language pathologist, 42 years. Brooklands Elementary, Lori Beatty, paraeducator, 25 years. Joan Muternowski, paraeducator, 28 years. And Teresa Simonetti, principal, 23 years. Delta Kelly Elementary, Dawn Blackburn, teacher, 14 years. Janet Phillips, speech and language pathologist, 16 years. And Judith Pulte, teacher, 29 years. Facility Operations Center, John Baranowski, maintenance, 17 years. Gary Dennis, facility manager, 20 years. And Carl Hager, grounds, 30 years. Hamlin Elementary, Denise Reed, teacher, 34 years. Michelle Toms, resource room teacher, 19 years. Hampton Elementary, Dawn Rochelle Galang, secretary, 18 years.
Dave,
Art-
1 second. I just want to interrupt you real quick. I
Sure.
have to think that some of you are in the audience, so I think you wanted them to come up, right?
They
as
can,
you
but
call
now
their
that
name?
we're here, maybe we'll just wait till the end and have
Okay,
them all
okay, that's
come up
fine.
at
Yep,
once.
just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure.
I'm thinking it was probably hard to get out of the rows in between, so. Beth Berland, teacher, 34 years. Mark Hillbaum, teacher, 35 and a half years. Mike Jameson, counselor, 33 years. Renee Lane, teacher, 32 years. Francis Leininger, teacher, 19 years. And Connie Redwood, paraeducator, 15 years. Hugger Elementary, Susan Bunting, paraeducator, 19 years. Long Meadow Elementary, Susan Humphreys, paraeducator, 23 years. McGregor Elementary, Johanna Cass Quigley, paraeducator, 14 years. Laura Cumberworth, office assistant, 16 years, and Sandra Murray, secretary, 23 years. Meadowbrook Elementary, Lori Duncanson, paraeducator, 17 years. Musson Elementary, Karen Smith, secretary, 25 years. North Hill Elementary, Marion Harbin, teacher, 12 years. Deborah Weber, paraeducator, 19 years. Susan Raymond, paraeducator, 11 years. Mary Taylor, teacher, 17 years. And Renee Grenier, teacher, 18 years. Ruther Middle School, Sarah Karras, paraeducator, 6 years. Deanna Knox, teacher, 25 years. Barbara Moreno, resource room teacher, 25 years. Sandra Westfall, secretary, 26 years. Rochester High School, Larry Adams, teacher, 25 years. Kathleen Davis, paraeducator, 15 years. And Lori Gambaro, teacher, 25 years. Schultz Educational Campus, Barbara Bogus, secretary, 20 years. Teresa DeSantis, paraeducator, 26 years. And Dawn Heupel, paraeducator, 20 years. Stony Creek High School, Deborah Crawford, paraeducator, 23 years. Anne Marie Edwards, learning consultant, 34 years. Judith Friels, information literacy specialist, 31 years. Nancy Funk, paraeducator, 25 years. Lori Gleason, secretary, 15. Karen Kill, teacher, 21 years. Diane Smith, paraeducator, 21 years. Linda Soja, paraeducator, 12 years. Emily Summer, teacher, 21 years. And Kathleen Ford, teacher, 26 years. University Hills Elementary, Maureen Sherry, teacher, 18 years. Van Hoosen Middle School, Beth Bowerman, teacher, 18 years. Cynthia Darby, secretary, 24 years. Linda Luer, paraeducator, 26 years. Sarah Lewis, teacher, 35 years. Valerie Score, secretary, 24 years. Virtual campus, Glenda Lebriere, teacher, 2.5 years. And West Middle School, Annette Faber, counselor, 29 years. And Carolyn McClure, secretary, 35 years. Please give these folks a round of applause.
Let's go ahead and give them another round of applause. What do you think?
One second, if you guys can remain. Is this on? Is this working? Okay. Okay. All right, if you can bear with me for 1 second here, I don't want to drop this, but I have something very special that is appropriate to give right now to Carrie Lawler. So Carrie, this is a plaque for you, and I'm going to read what it says. It is a proclamation in recognition of Carrie Lawler, Rochester Community Schools from the city of Rochester Hills, Mayor Brian Barnett, who could not be with us tonight. I believe he is at his city council meeting. Whereas on the occasion of her retirement, the mayor and city council wish to express their sincere appreciation to Carrie Lawler for her extensive leadership in the education and enrichment of Rochester Community School students for the past 8 years. And whereas Carrie has served honorably as an educator for over 3 decades, including leadership as assistant superintendent for secondary education, equity, and inclusion at Rochester Community Schools. And whereas Carrie has been an integral part of many significant accomplishments and initiatives, including the AP Capstone Program and Diploma, Academic Scholars Recognition, Seal of Biliteracy, Global Awareness Endorsement, Orchestra program, RCS virtual campus, and social emotional wellness initiatives. And whereas Carrie is a highly valued member of the superintendent's cabinet, respected by students, parents, and staff alike, her tireless work ethic inspires others to feel valued and respected. Carrie is a pillar in our community and exemplifies excellence in education. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council of Rochester Hills hereby recognize Carrie Lawler for her dedication and service to our community and wish her health, happiness, and the very best in her retirement. Signed by the mayor and city council. Thank you to you all on behalf of the Board of Education. Cannot thank you enough. That is a lot of years of experience right here in this room, and you will be missed, and you are all irreplaceable in our opinion. So thank you. Enjoy your retirement. Thank you. We're gonna do that. All right, next up, continuing with our spotlight items, I believe we have the Excellence in Education Awards. Lori.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Madam President. I'm sorry. So before we introduce the Excellence in Education Awards, we would like to recognize our elementary district choir who provided us with tonight's national anthem. The RCS Elementary District Choir is co-directed by Mrs. Jamie Priest, music teacher at Brewster, Mrs. Annie Griffin, music teacher at Meadowbrook, and Mrs. Mary Ann Fisher, retired RCS music teacher. The 27 members are students in 4th and 5th grades from elementary schools across the district, including the RCS virtual campus. The choir was first started in 2001 and was run as an extracurricular group in the district. In 2014, it became an enrichment course. Our students have performed at places such as Jimmy John's Field, the Palace, and Oakland University basketball games. This year, the choir rehearsals were all on Zoom, and with the help of technology, the students were still able to have 3 virtual performances. Thank you, Mrs. Priest, Mrs. Griffin, and Mrs. Fisher, along with our amazing students, for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. At this time, I would like to invite Bob Justin, RCS Foundation Chairman, and Joanne Baydoun, RCS Foundation Director, to present the Excellence in Education Award. Bob and Joanne.
Welcome,
Good evening.
welcome, Mr. Justin.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Education and Administration and fellow Rochester Community School community people. We're here tonight to celebrate two items. One, excellence in education, recognizing students and, not students, administration and staff who've performed excellently, but also our partner in doing this, Michelle Brilcheese of the Pinot Insurance Company, who sponsors this. And by way of background, for the last 20 years or so, she and her parents before her have provided the award for this. And we'd like to ask and thank Michelle, if she's, Michelle here tonight? She couldn't make it. So anyways, we'd like to recognize her as the sponsor of this and continuing to recognize excellence in education along with the Rochester Community Schools Foundation. Joanne's going to present the awards.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Board, for allowing us to present tonight. So this year, 96 Excellence in Education nominations were received from the family members, community members, coworkers, and students as well. So the following 5 winners have already been presented with the 2021 Excellence in Education Award in front of their peers at their buildings, but we would like to present them tonight at the Board of Excellence, at the Board of Education as well. The names as follows are announced in alphabetical order. Please join me in congratulating Amy DeCreasy, Community Relations Specialist. Amy, can you join me to the podium? Amy is described as a true gem and asset to Rochester Community Schools. Through her kindness, grace, professionalism, and compassion, she inspires and unites others to not only support our students, but to celebrate their accomplishments as well. Amy is always available to lend a hand, continuously using her resourcefulness to ensure that students and staff are successful. Thank you, Amy, for always advocating for our students. Congratulations. Thank you. Our next Excellence in Education recipient is Jess Bosna, teacher at Rochester High School and the RCS virtual campus. Jeff, can you also join me at the podium? Jeff's nomination states that he focuses his efforts on supporting whole child education, where he promotes the academic and social emotional growth and well-beings of his students. Jeff understands the unique needs of each individual learner and is particularly skilled at helping students who may be struggling in certain subjects of areas in their lives. Congratulations, Jeff. We are pleased to announce Linda Key, secretary at Hart Middle School, is the next recipient of the Excellence in Education Award. Linda is described as having a permanent level of friendliness, helpfulness, and selflessness. She's a hard worker, dependable, and a total team player. Linda treats everyone with respect and goes out of her way to make sure both are said that it's often said that the office is run so smoothly, it doesn't even seem like she's doing a job. Congratulations, Linda. Next, we are pleased to announce Elizabeth Lang, transitional kindergarten teacher at McGregor Elementary, is the next recipient of the Excellence in Education Award. Here she comes. Elizabeth received several nominations from former and present colleagues, as well as fellow educators for her dedication to her profession. Her passion for learning and improving her knowledge is outstanding. She is always on a quest to understand what the best practice is for young children. It has been said that her excellent radiance, her excitement within her, and inspires others to find the love for the magic that happens in our learning environment. Congratulations, Elizabeth. And we are pleased to announce Julie Schmidt, math teacher at the RCS Virtual Campus, as the final recipient of the 2021 Excellence in Education Award. Woo. One nominator said that Ms. Schmidt goes out of her way to celebrate all students and CAPS with their ideas and not only builds their confidence, but nurtures their creativity. Her kind and caring nature, commitment to her students' learning, and outstanding instructional techniques makes her an exceptional educator. Congratulations, Julie. If everyone can join us, Julie, want to say for one big group picture, the Excellence in Education Award nominees, recipients.
I just wanted to say while you're posing for this picture, one thing that's really special about this award, I think, that I don't want to go unnoticed is that it's they are nominated by their peers, which I just really love.
Thank you again.
Congratulations to all the winners. We appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks to the families and colleagues that were here as well. Next item on the spotlight on success. This, our final item, is MSBOA Teachers of the Year. And I believe we have Kelsey? Oh, Erin Holden, sorry. Erin Holden, thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'd like to ask Kelsey Fulmar from Van Hoosen Middle School, she's a band teacher, and Keenan Thomason, orchestra teacher at West Middle School, to please join me at the podium. This evening, we're pleased to announce that Rochester Community Schools has again been designated as a National Association of Music, as a best community for music education by the National Association of Music Merchants, commonly called NAM. This designation comes from a review of the K-12 music program and the support from both administration and our parent community. This award confirms that RCS is a special place for our young musicians to learn. Another reason that RCS is such a special place for music education is our teachers. We're so fortunate to have talented K-12 music teachers who represent an incredible staff. It's also my honor tonight to share that both the Band and Orchestra Teachers of the Year for the MSBOA District 16 are both Rochester Community Schools teachers. Kelsey Fulmar was awarded Teacher of the Year for band, and Keenan Thomason was awarded Teacher of the Year for orchestra. These awards are presented through the Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association. Teachers are nominated and voted on by their peers, and both of these extraordinary teachers were presented with this award because of their commitment to student achievement. Please join me in congratulating Kelsey and Keenan.
Congratulations, Kelsey, Keenan. Congratulations, Erin, and your whole team. Okay, after all of those spotlights on success, we'll continue on with our meeting. Next item on the agenda is communications. And we have a few items under this topic. So item 4.1, Secretary of the Board of Education, Michelle.
Good evening. The Board of Education has received 13 email communications that came through the RCS website since our prior meeting. These communications were directed to all board members are the ones that appear in the board packet. District parent Erica Bocamp contacted the board regarding an air quality report completed at Long Meadow Elementary. District parent Shannon Fascio contacted the board regarding a book in elementary classrooms. Community member Patricia Kane contacted the board regarding speaking at the next Board of Education meeting. District parent Tara Donnelly contacted the board 4 times regarding the Long Meadow Elementary and the 2015 bond. District parent Julie Stalker contacted the board regarding literacy and training manual contracts. District parent Jennifer Ayers contacted the board regarding the Long Meadow and Stony Creek High School roofs. District parent Jessica Opfer contacted the board 3 times. 1 was regarding COVID case reporting. 1 was regarding the phone survey from last summer, distance learning committee findings, and why a survey wasn't completed in the winter. And the 3rd one was regarding questions about the new administration building. Community member Deanna Harless also contacted the board regarding email communications. In addition, we all individually received an email from Tracy Malinowski regarding Long Meadow. We also received 3 emails that did not go through the RCS website. 2 were from Andrew Weaver. 1 was regarding a FOIA clarification, and 1 was regarding an email that was sent by the district in May. We also received an email from Sarah Pogazic asking what the mask requirements would be for the next school year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is citizens requesting placement on the agenda. These are the citizens that have previously requested to speak. And we have 11 tonight. So I will read these in the order I believe that they were received. So first up is Andrew Weaver, followed by Julie Stalker. Andrew. If Andrew's not here, we can circle back at the end of this item in case he comes in. Julie Stalker. Julie followed by Nola Stalker.
Hi, I'm Julie Stalker. I have 2 kids in the district. Several families gave me the permission and privilege to share their stories with you in an anonymous fashion. Our daughter's dyslexia showed up in 1st grade. In 2nd grade, her issues with reading and writing became more pronounced, and her teachers supported us looking into an IEP for dyslexia, warning us that she probably wasn't doing badly enough to qualify. While meeting with the school, I realized 2 very discouraging things. 1, the district is reactive and not proactive when dealing with reading setbacks. And 2, they weren't equipped to recognize dyslexia or have help in place for those struggling with it. The school suggested that I get her a tutor. A dyslexia tutor is extremely expensive, not to mention, after a full day of learning the wrong way for her, she wouldn't be able to concentrate on extra learning after school. I removed my daughter from Rochester schools and put in a homeschool hybrid. At RCS, my daughter had some of the best teachers and went to a great school, but the staff wasn't provided with the tools they needed to help her. This year, she has grown leaps and bounds with the right curriculum. I hope Rochester will consider training teachers so that kids like mine can learn to read and write in a way that works for them. Schools suspected ADHD for one child. A private evaluation revealed dyslexia. Dyslexia is twice as common as ADHD. And if you have dyslexia, you have a 50% chance of also having ADHD. The school offered whole language-based reading interventions. I knew it wasn't what she needed, but thought it couldn't hurt. I didn't realize it would be harmful, and I would spend time and money for her to unlearn what she was taught. She made steady progress with an Orton Gillingham tutor. In 4th grade, she fell behind in every subject. She still wasn't feeling enough for school to help. One middle school teacher told me she wasn't trying, ignoring that she was years behind in reading. She became depressed and no longer believed in herself. She no longer attends Rochester schools. RCS says all means all, but the last 14 months have shown me the appalling discrepancy between my child's ability and his performance. At the end of 4th grade, my intelligent, articulate 10-and-a-half-year-old could not compose a sentence independently. He could not subtract 1 from 4. RCS either did not know or did not tell me. But my son knew and anguished over it alone. RCS, we let my son down. We are letting other children down too. 1 in 5 RCS students, diagnosed or not, has dyslexia. An estimated 5 to 10% of the population has dyscalculia. 5 to 20% has a writing deficit like dysgraphia or written expression disorder. What we are doing, Reader's Workshop, Reading Recovery, Everyday Math, and VMath, does not work for neurodiverse populations. So all cannot mean all. Now at the end of 5th grade, after outsourced, evidence-based, multisensory, targeted interventions, my son can compose a sentence and do 2nd grade math independently. In 10 months, truly appropriate interventions did what RCS failed to do over a span of 4 years. RCS is only educating some of its students. What are you willing to do today to ensure that all really means all?
Thank you. Next on the agenda, I have Nola. Stop. Is Nola? Am I saying that right? Is it Nola? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Nola Stalker. I'm going to finish reading these stories. One of us has a child who was diagnosed with dyslexia by our doctor. After asking the school for 2 years if I should be concerned with how behind she was and how her writing was not eligible, the district didn't recognize her dyslexia, so I had to fight for an IEP reading and writing. When she finally got help, she was reading at a kindergarten level in the middle of her 3rd grade year. Why did I have to fight? Finally, we hired a tutor, and now she's only 1 year behind, but I had to pay someone else to get her there. Now what I expected from a top-notch school district. We suspected dyslexia, but each year since 1st grade, the teachers assured us that our son wasn't dyslexic. We learned about dyslexia and attended a local presentation about it. We told the teachers about the red flags. We loved and respected his teachers, and they were confident that he just wasn't trying hard enough. We trusted them and figured we were just imagining things. It meant that I waited until he was a freshman in high school to get him tested and diagnosed. I feel so much guilt for not trusting my gut. We were surprised when our daughter's preschool teacher told us our otherwise bright child was having trouble learning the alphabet. I took time to educate myself about dyslexia. We realized my daughter had many of the classic signs, even at such a young age. We also realized that her dad is likely dyslexic too and never diagnosed. I turned to the school for help. She was given an IEP in kindergarten, but by 3rd grade, she had made little progress. We were lucky to find a tutor who specialized in an Orrin Gillingham-based program. It took 4 years of tutoring, twice a week, thousands of dollars, and a lot of hard work from my daughter, but she is now doing well. RCS failed her.
Thank you. Next, we have Tracy Malinowski, followed by Tara Donnelly.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Malinowski. I taught 2nd grade at Longmeadow for 25 years. I'm here tonight because on numerous occasions from 2016 to 2019, I voiced my concerns with several district leaders about the air quality and environmental safety at Longmeadow. My 2 concerns are an incomplete roof repair and an inadequate assessment of the environment. I continue to be skeptical about the district's plan as it will not adequately address the long-term health and safety of the students and staff. The carpet at Longmeadow is 20 years old. An abundance of leaks and water damage have occurred over the years. I've been in classrooms where the same ceiling tiles had to be continuously replaced due to a dark rim that would form around the tile. I've been in classrooms that have a strong odor, especially upon arrival on a hot Monday morning when the building has been closed up. I've been in another classroom where the ceiling tile was lifted back, exposing the pipes. After rainstorms, the teacher had to get up on the counter, dump the excess water from the side of the tube into a wastebasket so it wasn't trapped and continuously dripping onto classroom supplies and student work. These were not a few drips in the bucket, but a continuous trickle for up to half a minute until it emptied out. All of these incidents were reported with requests to have them fixed in 2019. These facts, in addition to the concerns that I raised from 2016 to 2019, should have been cause for concern by RCS. The district should have been proactive by hiring a mold expert to get a second opinion in 2019, especially after a teacher was hospitalized twice that year. Most recently, I am disappointed I was put in a position that required me to make a difficult decision. Do I stay silent or do I speak up? I've been a loyal and dedicated employee. This was a difficult decision to make. I decided sharing publicly to bring attention to the situation was the most ethical and responsible thing to do. I remind you, my loyalty and responsible actions with communication in the past didn't get the attention it needed. On May 18th, the district decided to begin testing for air quality using the same company as in 2018. Nova Environmental doesn't advertise mold testing as one of their services. In my opinion, it would behoove the district to hire a company recognized as an expert in mold evaluations. Instead, the district continues to go to Nova Environmental, who creates environmental health and safety training programs for some of the largest educational institutions in the state. In addition, Nova touts being prepared to address public relation issues that are an inherent part of the indoor air quality industry. Being experts at creating mold awareness and mold remediation training videos is not the same as being an expert who does mold evaluations and remediation. It seems to me air quality testing and carpet sample testing from each room with a thorough investigation of what is happening between the roof, pipes, and ceiling tiles needs to be done after the building has been closed up for at least a 24-hour period. Only then will we have a more definitive answer to confirm or deny the presence of mold. A public and transparent release of the assessment would also ease the public's mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tara Donnelly, followed by Jenny Schneider.
Okay. Visual aids. Let's see. Okay. Can you hear me okay? They're having some sound.
Yep.
Couldn't hear in the back. Okay. Good evening. My name is Tara Donnelly, and I'm a parent and a taxpayer in Rochester Hills. On May 27th, there was an article in the Rochester Post about the new admin building. It says in here, for visual, that on top of the $7 million purchase price, RCS will also spend $3.6 million from the 2015 bond to renovate it. Taxpayers voted to give RCS $185 million based on this 2015 bond proposal, which is also called, showing this, the TI 2020, for people in the room who don't know. On page 3 of this document, it shows that $3.7 million was promised to the administration building for renovations. So it is good that what was promised is what's being delivered in this situation. But on that same page, on the same page of the same document, Longmeadow was promised $3 million to address its needs, but only received $996,000. McGregor was promised $2.38 million, but only received $825,000. So my question is, why weren't Longmeadow and McGregor given the same treatment as the administration building? Neither school received the entire amount of bond money that was promised to them. Roughly $3.577 million of earmarked bond money was collectively taken away from both Longmeadow and McGregor, while RCS gave Caring Steps $2.34 million from the 2015 bond for renovations, even though Caring Steps wasn't even part of the 2015 bond proposal. My other question is, why is RCS addressing the renovation needs of the administration building by purchasing a completely different building for $7 million and then spending an additional $3.6 million of the bond money to renovate it, while Longmeadow's needs are being addressed by placing buckets in the classrooms and hallway whenever it rains, relocating children to a different classroom to avoid the leaks, hiring after-hours carpet cleaners to sop up the mess, while dropping the renovation budget from $3 million to less than $996,000. How does this make sense? Our K-12 schools are the heart of this school district. None of these buildings should have water leaks, and all of them should receive the money that they were promised in the 2015 bond proposal. If they don't, then why would a taxpayer support a future bond proposal? What was promised should be what is delivered. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Next, we have Jenny Schneider, followed by Lori Baggett.
Hello, my name is Jenny Schneider. I'm an RCS alum, current kindergarten teacher at Brewster Elementary, and proud member and current secretary of the Rochester Education Association. I wanted to take a moment to speak tonight to share a little bit about what RCS has meant to me and acknowledge the work of this unique, challenging, and ultimately rewarding school year. RCS educated me from kindergarten through 12th grade. They both inspired and shaped my teaching career. I came back and sought a job in this district mainly due to my positive experiences I had as a student and when student teaching. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the work of everyone this year. From the teachers, administrators, support staff, and families, this is a year we would all likely never wish to repeat. And we were asked to lead, teach, serve in an ever-changing, scary, and stressful environment, and everyone deserves recognition. I would also like to acknowledge the work of the Board of Education. We know you sometimes take the brunt of complaints and negativity. We know you do this for no pay, and you try hard to do what's best for all students in RCS. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. That's the thing we have to keep in mind. Staff, administration, board members, we must think of all students and the bigger picture of the entire school community. While there was at times a focus of negativity when someone stepped up to this mic, I would like to share a little of the positives from this school year. While this school year was certainly my most challenging, I want to celebrate that I feel the closest to this group of students than I have in all of my 10 years, and most of their families as well. I want to thank the many families that have shown support for their teachers and school community with their words and actions. It means more than you will ever know. In my classroom, the unique circumstances of this year led to a greater level of intimacy and trust that transferred to a very special bond once back in the classroom. I want to celebrate that I've seen the same light bulb moments as years past. I've seen my students and colleagues learn how to solve problems, to get through challenging days and celebrate really good ones too. They have stepped up to the challenge and become resilient people. They have stepped up to whatever changes and challenges this year has asked of them, and they've inspired me to do the same. Did everything go smoothly? Of course not. It never does. But we used those bumps in the road to chart our own course, and we learned as we went. My class, their families, and our school community have shown me one true thing. We can do hard things, and I greatly look forward to a future in RCS. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lori Baggett, followed by John Opfer.
Hello, my name is Lori Baggett. I'm a parent. I have 2 children at Rochester Community School. What a great night. Wonderful accolades for teachers, retirees, a great banner that reads Pride in Excellence in RCS. Education here, the website reads, we have a premier school district that ensures high quality, student-centered, future-forward education. The website reads that we are a world-class learning opportunity, that we are ranked as a top school district in Oakland County, that we offer a well-rounded education, that we have a rich history dating back to 1821. My question is, why are you looking to change the education system at Rochester Community Schools? Your website also reads that RCS is using the Building Equitable Learning Environments framework as a guide to transform student experiences. It says you are resurrecting learning structures and processes because they are inevitably inequitable. It says we all inherited a public education system that limits possibilities for many young people and reproduces inequities based on race and class. I just read to you the total opposite of what this says. It also says on your website that we didn't create this inequitable system. Then who did? Dr. Shaner, you've been in education for 18 years. The district employs 15,000 staff members. Kristen, you've been on the board for 8 years. Kevin has been a former teacher and has been a former teacher for 7 years. So who created this inequitable system that's on the RCS website? The BELE framework reads that, let's see. We have an outdated system that ignores current research and science about what students truly need. Focusing on achievement reinforces deficit-oriented discourse and educator mindsets that blame underserved children. Students need knowledge and skills related to both prejudice reduction and collective action. Is that what RCS has been teaching? Because I'm really confused. There's a lot of conflict on the website. I'm wondering if you have asked the community whether this type of critical race theory is acceptable in RCS education. I don't agree with it. I don't want it taught to my children. Teach them math, science, reading, language, communication, and I will teach them to respect people, be kind to everyone, and be acceptable of everyone, no matter what race, color, sex, gender, identity, etc.
Thank you. Next up, we have John Opfer, followed by Jessica Opfer.
Good evening. I'm John Opfer, and I have 2 children in the district. Let's start with a question. Why are we here? Because we all believe the quality of our kids' education is important. Many of you know my wife, Jessica. To me, she's kind of a superhero. In addition to being a mom, she's an amazingly active member of the RCS community. Since 2015, her tireless personal involvement with Safe Routes, ArtSmart, and PTA has probably touched the lives of every North Hill student. So we talk about our schools a lot. Why? Because in our family, education is important. My parents always emphasized the importance of education as key to a positive life, even when that wasn't always so clear to me. My father grew up poor in a rural Midwest farm. He saw education as the only pathway to a better life, and he pushed himself to earn a PhD in physics, subsequently becoming an executive in Silicon Valley. Education was always a focus in our home, and this focus helped me create a great career for myself, doing something I love, and a good life for my own family. For RCS students' lives, education is equally important. How important? A 2020 report by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics says it's the most important factor in wage earning potential. A high school education equates to median yearly income just under $39,000. A bachelor's degree, just under $65K. Master's steps up to $78K. Professional degrees and beyond, median wages leap to over $96,000. RCS has a mission statement way too long to read here that basically says education is important. So why are we here? Hopefully to discuss our mutual passion, the best education for our kids. Unfortunately, it's clear to anyone listening that discussion isn't happening. This year, serious concerns on a variety of important issues have been raised before the board. These are ongoing consequential issues to many parents with considerable impact on the quality of our children's education, issues that deserve open discussion. But the board only answers with silence. Let's be frank, that's nuts, and it isn't working. Fred Rogers, yes, that Mr. Rogers, shared the following story. A young apprentice applied to a master carpenter for a job. The older man asked him, "Do you know your trade?" "Yes, sir," the young man replied proudly. "Have you ever made a mistake?" the older man inquired. "No, sir," the young man answered, feeling certain he would get the job. "Then there's no way I'm going to hire you," said the master carpenter. Because when you make a mistake, you won't know how to fix it. I respectfully submit serious mistakes are being made by the district. Most concerning is the stubborn resistance to transparency and improving interactions with parents. We absolutely need to find a way to engage together publicly in a meaningful way. Parents need to have a voice in RCS decisions, and RCS needs to be clear it's listening. It's time for the district to recognize their mistakes with humility and work with the community to fix them. We want to be heard and we expect results. Because for families like ours, education is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jessica Upfer, followed by Joshua Raymond.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Opfer, and I have the same two children that the previous gentleman has. Back in September, when I voiced my concerns about the virtual campus and the need for a better remote learning solution, I told a parent who reached out to me that I really felt the district might be convinced to listen if we continued to reach out and work collaboratively and civilly. I have continued to engage in respectful communication all year. But it honestly doesn't seem to matter how I or other parents speak. We all get more or less the same response. At best, we might hear the issue is very complex and that these things take time. At worst, we are simply ignored. But it doesn't take much time to spend $5 million setting up a virtual campus that is only going to serve 3% of our students next year, or to spend $10 million on a new administration building while multiple schools need immediate repairs. So clearly, where there's a will, there's a way. Last spring in Portland, Maine, the school district engaged parents and community partners to come together to design a plan for physically distanced outdoor learning. Using a combination of CARES Act funds, grants, and in-kind donations, they created 156 outdoor classrooms at their 17 schools and utilized them all year long, including through the winter. And I believe the total cost was $120,000. That is thinking outside the box. That is the kind of leadership, creativity, and engagement we expect from Michigan's premier school district. What kind of innovative solutions might we have created together in RCS during this pandemic? We'll never know because we were never given the chance to participate in the process. I have seen this district continue full speed ahead on multiple decisions this year without engaging the community on any level. School board deliberations must be carried out in public under the Open Meetings Act, yet it appears that this board regularly deliberates in private with the intent of coming to a unanimous decision before issues are brought to the public setting. The board also has significant flexibility under the OMA to modify meeting protocols and encourage, not discourage, public involvement. An observer might conclude that the district has used the pandemic as an excuse to reduce opportunities for public participation. For months, we didn't even get to appear at board meetings. We were just impersonal, faceless voices on the other side of a computer screen. Chat with the board sessions were canceled indefinitely, and the opportunity for remote comment was terminated, even though it is not prohibited under the OMA and is in fact allowed by law. On top of all that, parents and teachers alike now live in fear that their criticisms of the district will come back to haunt them. What kind of environment is this for productive dialogue? If you feel it is necessary to pay a public relations firm to coach district staff on how to respond to members of the public, doesn't that indicate that perhaps you have a public relations problem? A year ago, I supported this district and this school board 100%. I knew we would all get through this together. But today, I don't feel like we are in this together at all. Please have some humility, stop hiding behind legalese, acknowledge your mistakes, and initiate changes to repair these broken relationships. We as parents deserve a seat at the table.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Joshua Raymond, followed by Michelle Greenwald.
Good evening, Board of Education. I'm Joshua Raymond. I'm the father of 3 gifted daughters and a trustee on the Michigan Association for Gifted Children. I'm a former Longmeadow parent, and I see a lot of other current and former Longmeadow parents here. We chose to switch to Longmeadow because we had a principal, April Wiest, who really understood what I'm about to talk about. Sadly, it doesn't appear that her ideas are welcome in the district. With the MTSS diamond being displayed several meetings ago, I would like to recommend some ways that RCS can support gifted learners in a standard classroom in ways that can be implemented by the return to school. First, every teacher should receive professional development on basic recognition and providing services to gifted learners. According to the Fordham Institution, 58% of teachers have received no professional development focused on teaching academically advanced students. With 5 to 7% of students being gifted, most teachers have at least one gifted student in their classroom. Second, gifted students should be clustered under one teacher in each grade level. When I bring this up, I have often heard, but this isn't fair. Fair to whom? The teachers or the students? When each teacher has only one gifted student, differentiation is hard to do and rarely happens. 4 to 6 gifted children in one classroom with one teacher who has had more extensive gifted training makes it easier and more likely. Cluster grouping is a proven technique for this. Third, identification of gifted students is key. Too often, white children from higher income families are identified, while racial minorities, lower income students, and students who are both gifted and learning disabled are missed. This inequality has led to many gifted programs and honors classes being shut down, removing the best chance of success that many of these students could have. What is needed is more equitable ways of finding these students, like the Naglieri nonverbal ability test. By creating more equitable identification, you can provide an amazing educational experience for a student who would have been otherwise overlooked. These can all be done in a standard classroom with the current staff. There are ways to improve differentiation to meet the right side of the diamond years before a student has an opportunity to take an AP class. The board creates policy and the superintendent determines how to implement it. Will meeting the needs of advanced learners be a policy choice for you? This decision and the hopes of many RCS families now rest in your hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Michelle Greenwald. Michelle Greenwald. And is Andrew Weaver here? That concludes the public comment. Next item on the agenda is members of the Board of Education. Do any board members have any communication they want to detail? I received an email from Tiffany Stozicki about tours of the administration building to see the mural and the artwork in this room. And I also received an email from Molly Carambos with gratitude about RCS educators. Next item on the agenda is PTA Council update. Lisa Roscoe. Welcome, Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. As I reflect about the crazy year serving during a pandemic, I am proud of all the ways our Rochester PTA Council worked together to find new and innovative ways to provide programs to the students of Rochester Community Schools. I would like to thank my entire board, our council committee chairs, and all the PTA presidents in the district who served our students tirelessly, and we appreciate the support of the Board of Education and the administration who collaborated with us to ensure the best possible year given the circumstances. Despite the challenges of working remotely and virtually, we held our annual Leadership Day, monthly council meetings, as well as monthly presidents meetings. Our Battle of the Book chairs, Heather Maloche and Teresa Fenstermaker, came up with creative ways to host the battle for 3 high schools Our STEAM chair, Ann Nahara, and her team moved their STEM Plus family activities to a host of videos to still provide hands-on experiments for the elementary students of RCS. The team also created videos with the help of students to provide insight into STEM careers. Emily Stowe, who put together a wonderful Founder's Day program to celebrate our volunteers. Emily also worked with Lauren D'Amico and Annalise Candelwall to ensure the Reflections program still happened to celebrate our students who are interested in the arts. Jane Dick, our Green Schools Chair, secured Recycle Bank grant for the district to put more recycling bins in our schools and teamed with Tracy Gruber, our Safe Routes Chair, on several Get Outside challenges. Additional Green School programs included presentations by the Rochester Riders and the Rochester Pollinators. Even without a health and wellness chair, our board pulled together to host a toiletry drive and move the fourth grade health and wellness fair to an online format. And I'd also like to thank the PTA presidents and boards of each 20 schools who continue to serve both their in-person and virtual students, despite the inability to spend time volunteering in buildings and hosting programs. They put together virtual assemblies, drive-through ice cream socials, and book fairs, end-of-year parties for their graduates, and more. Because of all these tireless parent volunteers, the education and experiences of our students have been enriched. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. We appreciate your partnership. Thank you. Thanks to everyone on your team. Next, we have our consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the new business portion of the agenda. Item 5.1, current bills payable for May 1st through May 31st, 2021 in the amount of $14,730,072.59. Item 5.2, Board of Education work session minutes for April 26, 2021. Item 5.3, Board of Education regular meeting minutes for May 3rd, 2021. Item 5.4, Board of Education work session minutes for May 17th, 2021. And item 5.5, Board of Education meeting schedule for 2021-2022. I would like us to remove item 5.5, the meeting schedule, and we're going to discuss that briefly under new business. Does any board member have anything else they would like to remove, or does any member of the public have an item they would like to remove for discussion? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 5.1 through 5.4 as presented. Moved by Barb, seconded by Andrea. Any board, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That is a 5-0 vote. Next item on the agenda is reports, and we have two reports this evening. Item 6.1 orchestra and item 6.2 ribbon cutting ceremonies. And orchestra, I believe, is that Lori Grine or Carrie Lawler, or both? Oh, welcome, Carrie.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and thank you for the accolades. I feel humbled and very grateful, but really, it's too much. So, but this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I'd like to introduce kind of by way of history of our orchestra program. So we are joined this evening, though, I think, I haven't quite picked them out in masks yet, by two of our esteemed community members, Nicole Sjogren and Clarky Bonton. Nicole and Clarky, are you here? Come on up, stand with me. Thank you. We want to properly honor their legacy and their work in building the orchestra program in RCS. So in 2016, Mrs. Sjogren and Mrs. Bonton provided a presentation at a Board of Education meeting where they introduced the idea of adding an orchestra program to enhance the music curriculum within Rochester Community Schools. You saw tonight that it's already a great music program. This program would include music education focused on the string instruments, basically violin, viola, cello, double bass. So in the spring of that same year, the district initiated a task force to research, explore, and discuss the feasibility of a strings program. I was fortunate to chair that task force with my esteemed colleague, Mr. Behrman. An orchestra implementation specialist was also employed at that time to study options and produce a cost analysis and a logistics report. After much discussion, deliberation, and refinement, the work of the task force was then presented back to the Board of Education in the fall of 2017. The study included the recommendation of starting a strings program at the 6th grade level, indicating that this level of education provided an opportunity for more frequent instruction and supported a strong retention rate for students. Board of Education discussions included questions about instruments, classroom space, staffing, scheduling, curriculum development, as well as the concern about the loss of students from the band program. Opportunities for students in the 7th and 8th grades following the implementation of the strings program were also examined. On February 12th of 2018, the Board of Education approved the initiation of the strings program within the Rochester Community Schools District. Launching an orchestra program is a significant undertaking that requires a great deal of support. It takes time, expertise, and funding to build a high-quality program. When searching for a facilitator, we had to look no further than our own staff. Music teacher Aaron Holden enthusiastically embraced the position and launched the program with great success. In order to determine student interest, Mrs. Holden continued to work closely with Mrs. Sjogren and Mrs. Botten to bring in a small youth ensemble who provided many performances for students at each of our schools. The response from the students was overwhelmingly positive. Course descriptions were added to the 6th grade offerings for the 18-19 school year. Students had the option to select the strings program as one of their elective courses in addition to choir and band. The program was moving along nicely, but we were still addressing the need for equipment and supplies. In December of 2018, the Rochester Community Schools Foundation, a separate 501c3 organization that provides support to enhance RCS programs, awarded its largest gift ever to our schools, $137,000 to help fund the newly established orchestra program. The majority of that donation, $75,000, was used for purchasing violins, violas, cellos, and double basses, which were added to a school's musical instrument library. The remaining amount of the RCS Foundation gift covered the cost of instrument cabinets, music stands, seats for students, music books, and other essential program items. Over the past 3 years, the orchestra program essentially grew 1 year at a time, starting with the 6th grade and expanding to 7th and then to 8th grade. As we look to the 21-22 school year, we're so excited that we'll be bringing the orchestra program now to the high schools. The orchestra program is one example of how the delivery of high-quality programs remains a top priority for Rochester Community Schools. Please join me in thanking Mrs. Sjogren and Mrs. Botten for their partnership and to enhance our music program. Thank you, ladies. So good to see you again. Oh, sure. Wait, ladies, picture. Gotta do a picture. Or do you want to do that? Just the two? I would like to now bring up Erin Holden to talk about the presentation that you're about to see. And while she's coming, I'll let you know that both Clarky and Nicole have a daughter sitting in this ensemble right over here. So it's very exciting.
The orchestra programs reach its 3-year mark, and we're so proud of the full middle school program that we developed. And like Mrs. Lawler explained, we're moving into the high schools this fall. We can't wait to hear their incredible music. And tonight we have this is a really special treat for you. This quartet is from Hart Middle School. This is Min Jun King, Kyra Sjogren, Isabel Botten, and Delphine Scholl-Walter. They're in the 8th grade orchestra at Hart. Our kids have come so far from just learning their first few notes just 3 years ago, and we're so proud of everyone's growth and progress. Whenever you're ready, quartet.
Wow. Okay, so just a couple things to say here real quick. First of all, thanks to the four of you for sticking around for this through this meeting to play. Second of all, I want to ask you, like, what are you doing every second Monday of
Yes.
the month next year? Can you come to all our meetings? Can you play at all our meetings, please, from now on?
Yes.
This was amazing. I'm kidding, of course. This is amazing. We've been waiting a long time to hear this. Of course, I was on the board and Mike was on the board, and we remember when Clarky and Nicole first came to our meeting, and this was just sort of something that we were talking about, and this is something that the parent community had asked about, and we had said, we need some more information. And the work that you did on this program to build this program and the work that you did in conjunction with administration, we always had this vision of this happening. So congratulations to the four of you. Can't wait to hear you back here in a couple years, because I can't imagine, I can't believe you're eighth graders. My mind is blown right now. What was the name of that piece that you played? That was amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to your families for being here as well. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to say about these amazing students?
I was just going to say, you mentioned, Kristen, that you and Mike, were here at the impetus of this, and I came on the board, and it was, well, in February, I believe, that it was one of the first major programs that I had voted on. And given my love of the arts, I knew this was a great investment to make. And thank you so much for coming and proving that this is the best kind of investment we can make is in kids and in the arts. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. You can go home now, or you can stay. You can stay. Thank you to Mrs. Holden too, and to the other music educators who are here in the audience. I really appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is a second report, ribbon cutting ceremonies. Lori Grine.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, board members and Dr. Shaner. In November 2015, voters residing within the boundaries of the Rochester Community School District elected to approve a $185 million bond proposal to fund critical infrastructure and technology enhancements and improve student safety and school security. This past year, the final 5 construction projects took place at Brewster Elementary, University Hills Elementary, Ruther Middle, Van Hoosen Middle, and Stony Creek High School. At this time, we would like to showcase our students' enthusiasm and gratitude for the projects.
Today is a very special day. It is a day that we get to celebrate and thank our Rochester community for supporting all of the bond updates at Brewster Elementary School. We are grateful for the many updates such as colorful hallways, expanded and new classrooms, joyful spaces to celebrate our learning, and lots of new technology to engage our learners.
University Hills is so excited to celebrate the opening of our new building. We want to thank Rochester Community Schools and Dr. Shaner, who is here with us today, and also our Board of Education. We are just so thrilled.
Now, this new part of the school is amazing. The classrooms have calming colors.
That helps you focus. The classrooms are also filled with helpful stuff that you can use. In conclusion, our new part of the school is the best.
We are so excited to show you our new renovations.
Starting with our new entrance. We are the home of the Crusaders.
We have some awesome new outdoor renovations, such as the brand new Gaga Ball pit and the outdoor lunch area, which can also be used for learning.
I love the new flexible seating. I'm able to take my Chromebook anywhere and learn. We just love this new think tank. And look, you can even write on the walls and it erases. Beautiful.
We are so appreciative of your continued support for our bond work.
On behalf of the Van Hoosen PTSA, we want to say thank you for your support.
Thank you for the new sound system, IFPs, and secure entries.
Thank you for updates to our gym and cafeteria. Thank you for the updated media center with flexible seating. Thank you for the new parking lot, lighting, and a place to shoot things.
On behalf of all of us, we truly appreciate your continued support of all of our schools in Rochester.
Welcome to Stony Creek. We're so excited to have you here for our ribbon cutting ceremony to introduce our new media center, which was a very large part of our bond project.
The media center has been the backbone to Stugo in the past 3 years. It's been here whenever we needed to print things or just here to start talking about events. And I couldn't be more thankful for it. I met some of my greatest friends here.
Yeah, it's really exciting to be able to utilize the collaborative workspaces in the media center and lead our class in it next year and in the future.
It's Rochester Community Schools, and I don't think there's a community that stands behind its public school system like the greater Rochester area, and we're so thankful. And you can see the results as the kids are so excited about their new media center and all the great work here at Stony Creek High School, as well as across the school district. So thank you for your support.
Thank you to the school board and our entire Rochester Community Schools community. Have a great evening.
Thank you for those videos. Appreciate the glimpse inside those schools, and can't wait till we get back to in-person ribbon cutting ceremonies someday. We're moving on to the new business portion of our agenda. So we have 2 items now. Item 7.1 will be the Board of Education meeting schedule. And this is basically our meeting schedule for our meetings and work sessions for the 2021-2022 school year. And I'd like to take a motion to table this item till our next meeting. Moved by Michelle, seconded by Mike. And just so that the community is aware, it was brought to my attention today that there might be a conflict with another district-wide event for one of these meetings in the spring. And I just want to get that figured out so that we can have an accurate meeting schedule out there for the public. So we will figure that out and we will take this up at our next meeting. So the motion is to table this item to our meeting on the 21st. All those in favor? Is there any further discussion or any public comment on this? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is a 5-0 vote. So items 7.2, Human Resources Report. Chief Human Resources Officer, Beth Davis.
Thank you very much. This evening, we have several REA resignations and retirements. Lauren Bartarian, transitional kindergarten teacher at Brewster Elementary. Jordan Kamai, language arts teacher at the virtual campus. Emily Perry, learning consultant at North Hill Elementary. Lauren Rowling, language arts teacher at Adams High School. And Sarah Sullivan, language arts teacher at Van Hoosen Middle School. Retiring are Anne Marie Edwards, learning consultant at Stony Creek High School. Kathleen Ford, business teacher at the virtual campus. Renee Grenier, 5th grade teacher at the virtual campus. Marion Harbin, kindergarten teacher at North Hill Elementary. Karen Knight, speech and language pathologist. Glenda Lebriere, science teacher at Adams High School. Frances Leininger, resource room teacher at Hart Middle School. Sarah Lewis, science teacher at Van Hoosen Middle School. Barbara Monero, resource room teacher at Ruther Middle School. Janet Phillips, speech and language pathologist at Delta Kelly Elementary. Emily Summer, language arts teacher at the virtual campus in Stony Creek High School. And Mary Taylor, fourth grade teacher at North Hill Elementary. We have one administrative retirement, and that is Mary Jane Cosgrove, technology facilitator at Adams High School. She's submitted her retirement effective June 30th. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to continue on with the rest of the report
Sure.
first? Okay, great.
The next portion of my report is a summary of the tentative agreement with the Rochester Education Association. The bargaining teams for the Rochester Community Schools and Rochester Education Association reached a tentative agreement on May 11th, 2021. The members of the respective bargaining teams were as follows: myself, Chief Human Resource Officer; Matthew McDaniel, Executive Director of Business Operations; David Murphy, North Hill Elementary School Principal; Dan Mooney, Van Hoosen Middle School Principal; Pasquale Cusimano, Adams High School Principal; and Concetta Lewis, Executive Director of Special Education. For the association, Doug Hill, REA President; Deb Loughton, REA MEA Executive Director; Liz Schreck, REA Vice President, third grade teacher at the virtual campus; Rob Bird, REA High School Trustee and math teacher at Rochester High School; Colleen Devlin, kindergarten teacher at Brewster Elementary; and Heather Poyer, REA Middle School Trustee and resource room teacher at West Middle School. The members engaged in negotiations using interest-based bargaining. This is a process that was new to Rochester Community Schools in our last bargaining in 2019. And the team participated in 6 bargaining sessions to reach this agreement. The REA membership ratified the tentative agreement on June 1st, 2021. That is a tentative agreement that is being brought to you this evening. The current agreement in place right now is a 2-year agreement from July 1, 2019 through June 30th of 2021. The new agreement is a 7-month contract effective July 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 2022. The parties have agreed to begin bargaining a successor agreement in August of 2021. The summary of the notable changes to the previous contract are as follows. As I already mentioned, the contract duration is 7 months, July 1st through January 31st, 2022. Schedule D, which is the 2021-22 calendar, has 180 student days and 184 teacher days. And we plan to utilize 4 district-provided professional development days as instructional days, which are included in the 180 days under the Michigan Department of Education requirements. There'll be some changes to parent-teacher conferences. At the elementary level, parent-teacher conferences will be conducted within a predetermined time frame in spring and fall, and conferences will be conducted virtually or in person if the teacher or parent requests. At the secondary level, parent-teacher conferences will be conducted in the fall for a total of 6 hours, split into 2 3-hour sessions, and one session will be in person in the evening and the other will be virtual in the afternoon. Secondary spring conferences will be conducted either in person or virtually as determined after further research of the fall conferences and discussion with the contract maintenance committee. At the virtual campus, parent-teacher conferences will follow the appropriate levels, conference time periods, and will be conducted virtually. Transitional kindergarten, current language in the contract does not address TK because that was a new program last year or a few years ago. The language regarding teaching hours was added to the contract as this program was implemented after the last contract. Teachers of transitional kindergarten will follow kindergarten schedule during the first week of the school annually. And each full-time transitional kindergarten classroom will be allocated a minimum of a half day of adult support. And teachers will be provided 3 half days of release time to collaborate with their fellow transitional kindergarten colleagues. Class size at transitional kindergarten was established at 22 students at relief and 24 at maximum. This was also added to the class size language. The virtual campus was added regarding working conditions for teachers in the virtual campus. Teachers at the virtual campus will have access to RCS provided technology needed to teach remotely, and teachers will have access to physical space in an RCS facility if upon request, including lab space for content that requires it. And also the workday for virtual campus teachers may not be continuous. We've added middle school clubs, an additional 2 clubs for each middle school building, with 5 full-year clubs at the 3 middle schools, Van Hoosen, West, and Ruther, and 8 at Hart. That's an increase of 2 per school. Salary, effective with the 21-22 school year. The salary schedule will reflect a 1% on schedule increase from the 2021 school year, and an additional 1% off schedule payment will be made to all members of the bargaining unit in equal amounts, the second pay of December 2021 and second pay of May 2022, and all members of the bargaining unit will be moved up 1 step on the salary schedule. Additionally, current full-time members of the bargaining unit who contribute monies to a 403B tax sheltered annuity will receive a matching contribution to a 403B tax sheltered annuity up to a maximum of $750. Currently, that amount is $500, so it's an increase of $250. And this is a pre-tax contribution and will not count toward the Michigan Public School Employees Retirement System. That is the extent of the changes to the agreement.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve the human resources report, which includes the resignations, retirements, and the extension of the REA contract as presented. Moved by Michelle, seconded by Barb. A board discussion or questions? Go ahead.
I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about the discrepancy between the middle school clubs and why Hart gets a couple extra.
Hart is the largest middle school that we have. And so that number was increased in the last contract. So we've added two clubs to each middle school. So Hart is significantly larger than the other 3 middle schools.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mike?
I just want to thank both teams for the effort that's gone into this. It's not lost on us, the amount of work that goes into it. I'm glad you guys are taking a break. But I think all of the changes that you advised us on this evening are all they're all great. We're going in the right direction, and I really appreciate the partnership that I'm seeing here. And I put that on the IBB process that we adopted, and my impression is that it's working well, and and it's not just the process, but I think the people that are in the process too are making a big difference, and it's a real relief for us, and really appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. Actually, the entire team is here this evening, I believe. And so after assuming you approve the tentative agreement, I'd like to bring them up and have you acknowledge them and our partnership with them.
Great, awesome. Well, any other board member questions, comments, any public comment on this issue?
I was just going to
Sorry,
say,
Barb.
I think you said a key word, Beth, and that was partnership. And that is actually the same word that I heard from Liz Schreck, who's a part of the team, talking about the collaborative nature of the interspace bargaining process and how it differs so much from what is traditionally done between labor and management. And I really am proud to see that our district is continuing that process and that it looks like the majority of the core team that was here at the beginning has stuck around. And I think that exemplifies why this process continues to be successful. So thank you to everyone involved in being open to partnership and collaboration.
Thank you. With that, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the human resources report as presented, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is a 5-0 vote. And yes, we'd love to recognize any members of either team who are here tonight, if they want to stand or come on up.
I'd like to come up.
Oh, I didn't realize that almost all of them were here. I can't see that far back in the room.
We missed each other. We haven't seen each other for about a week. I'd like to thank Dr. Shaner and the Board of Education for your support. The REA Contract Maintenance Committee worked collaboratively throughout the year on many issues facing the district, our students and staff. The relationships that were established when we began this interspace bargaining process in 2018-19 have served us well through the last year and a half. As you recall, in our last contract, an important addition was made to the preamble. That addition reads in part, whereas the parties to this agreement have a common goal of providing the best possible education for all children. Whereas this agreement describes the relationship of collaboration being forged between the association and the board, dedicated to the continuous improvement of the quality of education in Rochester Community Schools. Whereas the parties to this agreement understand that accountability, communication, transparency, and trust throughout the system are vital components of a healthy organization. We've worked together with this preamble as our compass to guide us through our discussions and our decisions. We all take our responsibility very seriously and work very hard to live up to the trust that our stakeholders have placed in us. Again, from all of us, thank you to our REA educators, administrators, and the Board of Education. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you for being here. And happy last week of school to the teachers who were here. Additional business, item 8.1, citizens present at the meeting. If you wish to address the board at this time, you can bring a yellow card up to either Beth Davis or Andrea here on the end. I have one yellow card from Tracy Malinowski.
Hello again. As I stated earlier this evening, I continue to be skeptical about the district's current plan for Long Meadow. as it will not adequately address the long-term health and safety of the students and staff. As of Friday, June 4th, the district did not find it necessary to test my classroom in October 2018 or May 2021. I did, however, receive an update this afternoon from the principal with numbers for 5 additional classrooms taken during the first week of June. One of those tested was my former classroom. Again, the third round of testing was still done by Nova Environmental, a company that doesn't tout mold evaluations and remediation as one of their services. The letter also mentions an additional company was used to process the samples in their lab. Nova still took the samples, and we don't know what the conditions were for the testing. The air quality standards for appropriate levels still have not been provided to do a comparison. The district has not had carpet samples tested. The district has not shared an updated roof condition assessment prior to the work that is scheduled to begin next week. The most current assessment is 5 years old. This district has not been completely transparent about the roof evaluation system used to assess the roof 5 years ago. The district has not been transparent about the 2015 bond funding requested for Longmeadow. $2,146,122 was highlighted as critical needs. Carpeting was one of those critical needs. The district leadership has not been transparent about why the bond money allocated to Longmeadow dropped from $3,014,855 in 2015 to just $995,716 in 2019. Historically, the Longmeadow Caring Hair staff and PTA are a dedicated, hardworking, and generous group of people. Many hours were put in by Longmeadow parents and staff, encouraging neighbors, family members, and the community to support the 2015 bond. Many of those parents have moved on to other schools as their children have grown up and some have even graduated. Like those of us who are still committed to what happens in the halls and classrooms of Longmeadow, those parents and PTA members would be disappointed and disgusted to see what Longmeadow did not receive from the 2015 bond. We all worked hard to get that bond to pass. Longmeadow did not receive the critical needs of a properly repaired building and new carpeting with 2015 bond money. Decisions that were made by RCS leadership between 2015 to 2021 are having a negative impact on the health and safety of the students and staff at Longmeadow. Teachers should not have to move their students to a different classroom in the middle of the day due to a rainstorm. This is just not acceptable, and it needs to be addressed transparently and fixed properly. Just like every other student and staff member in this district, these students and staff members matter too.
Thank you. Next, I have Julie Stalker.
Hello again, I'm Julie Stalker. Thank you for listening to the stories of some families in the district and for encouraging the district to partner with parents like me to improve literacy for all students. Change can be a slow and uncomfortable process. Change will come too late for some families. Their stories tell where our journey began, help to measure how far we have to go, and remind us all of what's at stake. I was going to share some warning signs of dyslexia, but they're easy enough to Google. So here's an analogy instead. Imagine if the person teaching you to drive taught you to press the brake, push the button, turn the dial to D, ease off the brake, then hit the gas, and you're off. Those in automatic cars could drive off, but in a stick shift, they'd be stuck or stall. You can keep explaining how to drive an automatic, but it won't help them. They need to be taught the way their car works, with 3 pedals, not 2, and a stick, not a dial. Students with dyslexia need to be taught to read the way their brain works, or they can't get going. If you've driven both an automatic and a stick shift, you know that driving the stick takes more concentration, coordination, even more physical exertion, because you have to move your arm and both feet. Driving the stick is more mentally and physically exhausting. The same is true for people with dyslexia. Reading takes more effort and is mentally and physically exhausting. Assistive technology can help. I'm using glasses to read. I can take them off and hand them to someone else. They're not going to help that person. I can read without them and get a headache, eye strain, and wrinkles from squinting probably. Glasses don't give me an unfair advantage. They aren't cheating. They provide me equitable access to content. Some people with dyslexia take longer to read. When a teacher assigns chapters they think will take 20 minutes to read, some students could finish in 15 minutes, some 20. What if it took 40 minutes or an hour or longer? Or you got tired because you're working harder to access the same content? What if there was homework in other subjects? Assistive technology allows students to access the same content in a reasonable amount of time. It doesn't provide an advantage. If someone else used it, it wouldn't help. It might even slow them down. MRIs show that we use the same areas of the brain when eye reading and ear reading or listening to books. Ear reading is reading. Some technology combines ebooks with audio and improves reading ability, like when drivers stop riding the clutch. They're more efficient, but they're still driving a stick, need to concentrate, use 2 feet, and shift gears. Driving stick shift has advantages. It's fun, you have more control. Dyslexia has advantages too, you'll hear about some later. Part of this analogy doesn't work because unlike driving, when you are learning to read, there is an approach that is more effective for everyone, those with dyslexia and those without. Districts using science of reading improve reading scores of all students, not just ones with dyslexia. Science of reading-based methods, like those in structured literacy programs, aren't weird. It's how many of us learn to read. Reading is still being studied. How to teach reading gets updated, becomes more engaging, and is backed by even more research. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nola Stalker, followed by Patricia Kane.
Hi, my name is Noah Stockard. Dyslexia makes it harder to read, but it has many strengths too. Some are better at seeing the big picture, excel at global visual processing, or finding the odd one out, have improved pattern recognition, which is good in math and science, have great spatial knowledge, or can think in 3D and become architects or designers, can think in pictures, have sharper peripheral vision. 1 in 3 American entrepreneurs has dyslexia, like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, and Carl Schwab. They can be highly creative, like Pablo Picasso, Leonardo da Vinci, Johnny Depp, Keira Knightley, Orlando Bloom, and Tom Holland. They're great at thinking outside the box. When problem solving, people with dyslexia are well known for sudden leaps of insight that solve problems. Their approach to problem solving might look like daydreaming, staring out a window is how they think, allowing their brain to let connections form. Some presidents had dyslexia, like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Andrew Jackson, Woodrow Wilson, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, and Dwight Eisenhower. There are other famous people with dyslexia too, like Anderson Cooper, Galileo, Robin Williams, Albert Einstein, Steven Spielberg, Beethoven, Stephen Hawking, John Lennon, Henry Winkler, Nikolai Tesla, Octavia Spencer, Eli Whitley, Richard Branson, Tommy Hilfiger, the Wright brothers, Princess Beatrice of York, Aaron Brockovich, David Pilkey, Hans Christian Andersen, Agatha Christie, Jules Verne, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and Yeats. Fictional characters like Percy Jackson, I don't know who the next people are, but Theo Huxtable, Johanna Martin, Christina Yang, and Jamie Lancer. When you teach people to read, you open doors.
Thank you. Next, we have Patricia Kane, followed by Jamie Rockcliffe.
Thank you. I'm going to be really quick about this. First of all, congratulations for all of our teachers who did a marvelous job during COVID. They worked very hard and they were the ones in the trenches. They were doing the work. I'm in healthcare. I work in a medical office. I know what they went through. We're still not normal. We're still going through a lot, but they were the ones in the trenches. 3 things have come to light in the last few months that as a taxpayer in the city, not happy about. 37 cents of every dollar I pay goes for the services I actually use. The rest goes for education. So I will tell you, a board is only as good as it delivers to the stakeholders. The stakeholders, first of all, are the people that pay the bills. That's your taxpayers. Then it's to the education of our children and the quality of our teachers. I'm very disappointed in the communication that has not come from this board. Part of that communication is on 3 issues. Exorbitant raises that came in at 27%, 12%, 13%, and I think 6 or 8% at a time when people didn't even know if they were going to put food on their table. Very disappointed when the people in the trenches, and I'm listening to 1%. The work did not change for those few individuals. It was a leapfrog to possibly a better and higher paying job. It's a paper. You can't get a $500,000 or $350,000 job at a higher level if you're making $250,000. So you ratchet it up, and you know what? If you're at $275,000, you can get a $300,000 job. You've narrowed that gap of what employers look for. I'm upset and disappointed with that. People in the trenches, I think, deserved a bit more. And if that be so, everybody in service that worked the last year all through COVID certainly deserves a hand and a bit more. Next, purchase of the Letica building. Wow, that slipped under the radar. My neighbors and myself found out that it was a done deal on a blog the next morning. A larger building when enrollment is going down. And what I saw were letters that parents actually sent to me so I could read what Dr. Shaner had to say, why it was kept the way it was. Were those letters sent to all the taxpayers or just the parents? I still don't have an answer, and at this point, it doesn't matter. It is water under the bridge. Next, we have a federal lawsuit. I believe it's, from what I know, it's still filed. Where it's going to end, God only knows, because nobody can talk about it. It's going to cost us money. It'll cost what the insurance doesn't pay in the end, and it's going to cost the taxpayers. I think what you've done just now with those 3 things this year is you put a blight on this area, on this community, and you need to improve on communication, working together, collaboration, and being more responsive to the community as a whole. And I think it has to be done if you want that trust.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Jamie Rockcliffe, followed by Barbara.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie Rockcliffe. I'm a parent to 2 children here in this district. I've listened to a lot of people tonight and at meetings all year talk about how the district never listens to parents and doesn't communicate well. And I honestly have to wonder if these people are in the same school district that I am in. I've been a parent in this district for 9 years and have found nothing but teachers, staff, and administrators who are open and willing to discuss any questions or concerns. And I've had many conversations with principals at both elementary and middle school level, and I found nothing but open doors everywhere I look. Just recently, I had the pleasure of speaking to Corey Heitch, along with several other parents, to advocate for our 5th graders and parents regarding 5th grade graduation. We were heard, and I'm excited that on Wednesday morning, I'll be able to watch my youngest graduate from elementary school. And later that day, he'll be able to celebrate with his classmates. Last week, my 8th grader visited his new high school. He had his 8th grade celebration, and he spent time raising money for SCAMP, a wonderful organization here in Rochester. While many friends I know in other districts still have kids learning at home and graduating in drive-through ceremonies, RCS has held 3 proms, had author visits at 13 elementary schools and 4 middle schools. We've had end of the year parties for 5th graders, 8th graders, and upcoming parties for our seniors. And we're going to be having in-person graduations for all of our high schools. For all of that and so much more, I say thank you.
Thank you. Barbara, followed by Jessica Opfer.
Jamie kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I'm Barbara. I have a senior at Adams, and I just wanted to get up and really just thank the administration, the principals and the administrators that aren't here, for all of the incredible senior activities that have happened. My son's initial thought at the beginning of the year was, it is what it is. And we kind of all just took that line with him, and we were just like, we're just going to roll with it. It's going to have to be whatever happens gets to happen. And we were just ecstatic. Honors night was incredible. I recommend they do it outside in the football field every year. It was the best. It was way better than anything I've seen before. The proms were great. All of the kids had such a wonderful time. They did some extra things. You know, you guys did some extra planning on that and such. It was great. And the fact that our graduation is going to be at DTE is just phenomenal. And for those of you that don't know and don't have a senior, we were able to bring 10 guests, which is pretty awesome. So I just want to end with my senior was quoted in the Oakland Press last week after the prom. And he said, the seniors this year didn't have any expectations. We were surprised and thankful that our senior events were able to happen. We are so appreciative of our administration and staff for keeping our traditions alive. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jessica Opfer, followed by Maria Maselli.
Hi, I'm still here. And before I begin my prepared comments, I just want to say that I think it's fantastic that we had in-person graduations and proms and all of those things. I have nothing negative to say about our principals, our staff, our teachers, and I never have this year. But I want to make a point. I'm still here after speaking at just about every board meeting this year and sending countless emails, contact the board submissions, and talk to RCS messages. I'm asking tough questions that you might not want to answer, but I'll keep asking them anyway, at least until I start getting answers. Someday, I hope to be here talking about issues that are really near and dear to my heart that I've mentioned before, like later school start times and the language arts curriculum and a host of other things. But I'll admit, after this year, sometimes it's tempting to just give up. Sometimes my family asks me why I keep going to another meeting when it clearly serves no purpose. I'll tell you why. And I want to stress that I'm not doing this to brag or toot my own horn. I'm trying to make a point, which I'll make at the end. It's because every time I speak, every time I write a letter, every time I make a post in RCS Agents for Change, I get private messages like these, and please bear with me. Thank you for your advocacy. You are making a difference for the kids in our community. Thanks for everything you are doing, for tracking and creating the forum to give us all better and more consistent insight. Thanks for taking on this task. It's a worthy cause and a difficult job. Great 3 minutes of commentary last night and great questions raised. I can only hope there are some follow-up answers put out. Thanks for all your data collecting and reporting. I so appreciate your effort. Thank you. I didn't feel comfortable speaking up. I wish to express gratitude for your Facebook communications. You eloquently express my same beliefs and do it so well. Thank you for being a voice for our community. I just wish they would listen and do what you and many of us have requested. I'm not giving up, and your support really helps. I'm right here with you. This group has brought to light a lot of concerning things about our school district, and I value the knowledge. Thanks again. I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing by being an advocate for our children. I appreciate you and your efforts. We're also among the many, many parents who feel the same. I was blown away by your comment, very powerful and very well said. It was very much appreciated. It really spoke to me. I teared up listening, and my husband was pounding his fist in the air as you spoke. Thank you for being our voice. I'm in tears right now. I'm not sure why, but your words hit me like a ton of bricks. Thank you for articulating exactly how I feel, how I imagine most of us feel. Thank you for speaking up and advocating for us. I don't know if anyone could have said it better. I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing by being an advocate for our children. I appreciate you and your efforts and applaud how you handle confrontation with grace. There's a large group of people who are so proud of you, just wanted you to know you are appreciated and supported. From a teacher, thank you for all your support. It does not go unnoticed. From another teacher, Thank you for all your work and dedication to be an RCS agent for change. I appreciate you and all the parents who are involved in the many changes you advocate for. There's more, but I know I'm running out of time. So I'll end with this one. I really appreciate how tirelessly you advocate for all students of RCS. If nothing else, you've given a lot of parents a voice when they didn't feel as though they could speak or didn't know where to start. In a time when it's so easy to complain and blame, you have people striving for positive change. Not one of those people spoke up this year.
Thank you.
We're hoping to change that. Hang on. But I'm also willing to be here and speak for them for as long as it takes until things start to change. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Maria Maselli, followed by Jeanette House.
Good evening. My name is Maria Maselli. I have 3 children in the district. I'd like to echo some of what Jamie and Barb have already said this evening in regards to some of the activities that we have put on for our children this year. In addition to graduation at DTE and Authors in April and all of those other wonderful programs, our theater program was able to host a play outside, which was awesome. Our band was able to play and have a concert outside. And again, it was awesome. Our 3 high schools had a band festival for the first time ever. And again, it was awesome. So I thank you for allowing those things to happen. I'd like to end with a quote. So sometimes we need someone to simply be there, not to fix anything or to do anything in particular, but just to let us feel that we are cared for and supported. So thank you.
Thank you. Jeanette House, followed by Debbie Jones.
Hi there. I also want to state my appreciation to the board and to the teachers and the principals. I also have a senior and we appreciate the graduation, the senior party, the prom, so much to look forward to after such a hard year. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last card I have is Debbie Jones.
Hello, I'm Debbie Jones, and I have a just finishing freshman year at U of M, male, and a daughter that is going to be entering her senior year at Rochester High School. A lot of you know me because I've worked with you over the years. I was at Longmeadow, West, and Rochester High School, and PTA president, booster president, you name it, I've probably done it. I have always felt like I've had a voice, and those that know me know I have used my voice. I have always felt listened to. I feel so much gratitude for being in RCS. My experience has been incredibly positive. I'm going to get emotional. What you all put up with at these meetings week after week is incredible to me. We are blessed to have you in these jobs. Of course, can be improvement. Of course, there are mistakes. But the Board of Ed are unpaid volunteers that give so much of your time. I am very grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the administration.
Madam President, if I may, please. First of all, we wrap up the school year. Not counting, but only a couple more days. And I know our teachers out there, the 2, right? Yeah. And it has been quite a challenging year. And many things have been said about that. And if you're someone that it didn't go well for, you certainly have our empathy and our heartfelt acknowledgement of that. Things don't always go as planned in an organization our size. But really, I've said this multiple times, and I want to make sure I say it again as we close out the school year. First of all, I want to congratulate our retirees. Can't believe I've been doing this as long as I have. Back in education and as superintendent as long as I have. And when you get to this point as a superintendent, when you see people retire, this isn't a happy day. it's really a sad day because you build relationships with folks, whether it's you want a kindergarten teacher, you walk in and play blocks with their kids, whether it's a maintenance man who has an incredible talent for carpentry and can fix anything, whether it's one of our building secretaries who, one of them is called Bossy Boss. I didn't know that, but that's because she runs the place and gives it that grace and that that feeling of belonging. So it's really it's really bittersweet that I say congratulations. It is very fitting that today we honored Ray Lawson and that we also honored our retirees as we remind ourselves of our compelling why and who we serve and why we do what we do. And I'd also be remiss to again thank our current staff members in a very, very difficult year. And when we talk about things like graduation, we think about things like prom and convocation and Founders Day and fifth grade celebrations that would not have been possible without the commitment of this Board of Education. And we've said it over and over and over again. Our hope, our fervent hope was to get kids back to school as soon as possible, as soon as it was safe, as normal as possible. And I am extremely proud of the fact that we returned to a normal school day as much as possible with lunch service. I am proud of the fact that the collaboration that took place between our labor units, particularly the REA, from day one, Doug Hill and the entire REA leadership was at the table and willing to collaborate. And we would not have, I say to you, we would not have come up with the product that we did. And I'm going to say this again, Rochester Community Schools was back in school for the most days a week for the longest amount of time of any school district our size in Oakland County. And that's because of the collaboration and the hard work of everyone, from the bus drivers to the maintenance people, to the secretaries, to the classroom teachers, to the parent volunteers, to everyone that could possibly be involved in it was. So from the bottom of my heart, in a very difficult year, personally and professionally, I want to thank you. And you know, when you think about legacy, ladies and gentlemen, think about those kids that were just playing those violins in front of us. That is legacy work. And Carrie, you were a critical part of that. And congratulations and thank you. And again, just extreme gratitude. I hope you're all able to join us at graduation. We have plenty of tickets. You know, if you don't like DTE, the upside is we got plenty of tickets. So come on and watch it, and we'll be happy to have you there and celebrate our seniors because they deserve it. Thank you.
Any other administrator comments tonight? Any comments from the Board of Education? Michelle.
I've got a couple things I wanted to mention. On May 17th, the Rochester Area Youth Assistants celebrated their youth recognition honorees with a parade, and it was a little different than usual. But this year's honorees are Jenna Arnold, Lily Powers, and Gwen Shada. So congratulations to them. Also, I, along with some of my fellow board members, attended the Authors in April evening with the author benefit and was again reminded how lucky we are to have this amazing organization that provides such great experiences and opportunities for the students in our community. Also, congratulations to all the International Academy graduates. Their commencement was last Thursday night, and I was honored to be able to represent the board and celebrate these wonderful students. I was also happy to represent the board at a small reception for the PTA Council Executive Board. It's absolutely amazing how much the PTA Council has been able to do this year despite the pandemic, including adding some new programs and being creative about presenting previously scheduled programs. So just a huge shout out to them and all of their committee chairs and all the schools and their individual boards as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Mike.
Yeah, so Barb and I attended the 28th Annual Sparkle Awards at Stony Creek. It's almost 3 weeks ago now. But the Sparkle Awards are always very heartwarming. Listening to the nomination letters for the special awardees there, it never fails to bring, tears to my eyes anyway. Sparkle is a wonderful celebration of the triumph of our kids over adversity, and the dedication of those special people that guide them to overcome these challenges. I wanted to compliment Amy Kessler and Melissa Hoffman for putting on an excellent event. Thank you for the work that you put in. It is very much appreciated.
Thanks for all of that. Anyone else? Barb.
I did want to share, I was able to, along with Michelle, attend a few of the surprise presentations for the Pinnacle Award. And it was so fun to see the reaction of the teachers who received their awards. And they had family and friends there, as well as their colleagues, to revel in their accomplishments. And it was quite an honor to be there and represent the board. And you know, to Bob's point, it's great to celebrate the retirees, all the teachers that are retiring, but it's also, you know, it's a little concerning in terms of understanding the teacher shortage that states and our nation are currently experiencing, and knowing that a lot of these very talented, very committed teachers who are retiring are going to leave some gaps that, you know, we will work diligently to make sure that we fill with the most qualified teachers to fill. But there's a great saying that I always remember, that the teaching profession is the basis of all professions, right? Anyone who teaches somebody to do something else. So it's a legacy that that I think leaves very big shoes to fill, but you know, we'll work diligently to fill them. But it is a bittersweet moment for sure.
Andrea.
Yeah, just I wanted to make a couple of comments, just because this is our last meeting of the school year, and
We have one more meeting of the school year.
do have one more meeting.
Yes. But you can make your comments now.
This is the school year, you know, kids are done next week.
Yes,
so
I know what you mean, for sure.
As a mom, it feels like
Okay,
the last meeting. of the
yes.
school year. Let me rephrase that.
I get it.
And you know, really first as a mom, you know, this has been just a crazy, polarizing, emotional year for so many of us, and all of us. There isn't anyone who couldn't have been touched by everything that happened across the world. And you know, I had a parent come up to me this week and say, we hadn't met, and she said, "Oh, you're on the school board," and she said, "Are you fighting for our kids?" And she said, I don't, you know, I've heard, you know, something. And I said, yeah, that's what I got on the school board for. That's what we're all doing. That's what parents do. And I just was so reminded that regardless of the seat that we sit in, whether it's a mom or a dad or a PTA council member or a teacher or whomever, anyone who touches a part of a district is fighting for a kid. And, you know, while we at this table decided to fight for kids in this way, I think it's so important that we remind ourselves that we're all in this fight together, that we really do try to hear each other and listen to each other. If the answer is, I don't know, or if the answer is no, or if the answer is yes, we're still all heard. And I think as school board members, it's hard for us sometimes to be heard because of the seat that we sit in. And so I hope that we are heard by the conversations that we have with parents and the students coming home learning, and the changes that can be implemented while we're here, and the things that we see. And I've never had more empathy than I learned to have this year, for our teachers and our parents. And, you know, we've never had a more crowded room. We've never had better attendance at our school board meetings. And honestly, I hope that continues. I hope that we continue to see parents and in the community engaged in what before it was cool and virtual to be on a Zoom call, we all thought was important to give our time to. So that's all.
Thank you. And I will just move right into announcements, which is the last item on the agenda, and just leave it with this. Last day of school is Wednesday. And I'm so excited to be able to say that graduation is Saturday. I didn't know if I would say that at the beginning of the school year. And as the mom of a 2020 graduate, I am just so happy. I can't wait. I can't wait till Saturday. So thank you to all the members of the administration for making that happen. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:27 p.m. Moved by Barb, seconded by Michelle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.